Yeah, so when I first started as a yoga teacher, it was right after I lost literally everything, my house, my car, my mortgage company, everything. I mean, it was like if somebody would have kicked my dog, it would have been like a country music song. So yeah, things were really tough, but that was my opportunity at that point. I was like, okay, well, I've gone after, building the wealth and trying to build a business and not, well, why don't we now go after something that we love, I love. So I started teaching yoga full time, and immediately, I'm adding it up. Okay, I make $25 per class. How many classes do I need to pay my bills? I was lucky if I made $2,000 in a month, and of course, yoga is never about money, and it never will be. But it's not also not about struggling to the point where you're just poor and can't take care of yourself. It was through that process that I did realize that you have to fill your own cup up before you can fill up the cup of others. And I was sacrificing myself, running all around town, teaching group classes, teaching anything I could in order to pay my bills. I went from one struggle to another struggle, just a different type of struggle. And it took me a while of being in that place before I began to change my mind. Because again, to me, anything with business or marketing I associated with that with pain, because I had lost my company. I had lost through trying to market my services, so to speak. It was just painful to go back into that. So I did everything I could to not have to go back to market myself. I was just speaking to people, doing private one-on-ones when I could. That was few and far between. I just kept teaching group classes because that's the only thing that I knew. Okay, if I do this, I will get this money. And I was always on the edge of burnout. And I also didn't keep time for my own personal practice, and that hurt the most because I felt like I was inauthentic as a teacher. I think there's a part of us that feels like, okay, I'm teaching, so I am honoring the path. I am getting my own personal practice in, but it's just not the same when you take that time for yourself. So, yeah, I struggled a lot. And I had to go through that to just realize I don't like this and I've got to find a better way. And for most yoga teachers, obviously, they stay in that position of, okay, I'm struggling. Either they go, and often they either go find another job or they continue to struggle. So for me, I just eventually had to transition this thing to how can I be smart about teaching yoga and make this more financially rewarding so I can continue to do it. Because right now, it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable to teach 15 to 22 classes per week. It's just not going to happen and always be on the edge of burnout. Because I knew if I kept doing that, I was going to resent yoga. And I've met way too many yoga teachers who've been teaching for 15, 20, 30 years, who've struggled financially the whole time. And I can taste that resentment when they talk about it. And nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. I think about yoga and I think about how it originated and how often the swamis, they were taken care of because in their culture, people would give to them. People aren't giving to yoga teachers in the same way. They're not like giving them food. They're not giving them shelter. They're not donating to yoga teachers because they see it in a very different light. So again, it was like trying to draw from all these experiences. Okay, how can I be smart about business? How can I be smart about marketing? How can I leverage my voice? How can I honor the path of yoga? And that's when I began to really get clear about the niche and having a perfect client and then building a transformational signature program. And that's how really it evolved over time, painfully, but it evolved to that.